Hey, what's up, comrades? Hope everyone's doing great. We're here to talk about Volume 28 of Fairy Tale, which continues our battle for Fairy Tale Island between Fairy Tale. I know, how many fucking times can I say Fairy Tale? And Haiti and his crew. And we start off with an excellent shot of Lucy getting dressed and her fantastic breasts. So, we take that. We see Carla Carla flying in to tell Wendy, Natsu, and Lucy about the camp being attacked and everything like that. So Natsu picks up Makarov. They run into Mest. Mest apologizes for everything and whatnot, and then him and Natsu kind of get into it. Meanwhile, over with Gray and Altair, they talk about Zareth. They talk about how Altair misses and how Gray was her greatest disciple and all that kind of stuff. And then we switch over to Urza, who's looking around for Wendy, and she runs into, what is this guy's name again? It's Azuma. I think that's his name. He's the tree guy. Meanwhile, over at the the Hades little barge thing, he's thinking about how his people are being destroyed and how Blue Note's had enough, and so he's going to go off and it's going to cause complete and utter chaos, which he's not necessarily a super big fan of. Meanwhile, back over at the base camp, we see Lysiana and Levy, and they're watching over Elfman, Fairy Chick, Gajil, and Mara Jane, who are all passed the fuck out, right? So they're not having a good time whatsoever. And then Dudemeister shows up. Who's Dudemeister? Dudemeister is what would be Elfman. He's the one who anything he imagines will become reality, and he's talking about how they all need to be consumed or whatnot. And then Panther Lily and Lysiana and Levy are ruh-roh. At that juncture, Natsu and his crew, which again is Wendy, Lucy, Carla, and Happy, they run into Blue Note. And then Natsu's who the fuck are you? And then the guy is fall. And he causes all of them to bend their knee or whatever, and there's a huge crash. And then we jump around to people being, what the fuck is that? And they, it's oh no, someone's oh no, Blue Note's around. That's the end of everybody. And then Blue Note mentions that he has no interest in Fairy Tale or Zareth, that he's here because he wants to get something from Mavis Vermilion's grave, and she's the first guild master of Fairy Tale, if you remember. And at that point, we switch back over to Kana, who's found the grave just as Lucy told her about, which is exactly where she said it was. And so she approaches it. There's a light, and then she goes to touch the light, but then she realizes that fairy glitter's there, and that's what Blue Note wants. He wants fairy glitter. What is fairy glitter? Fairy glitter is a light that destroys the essence of the enemy of Fairy Tale or whatever, and then it's sealed in that grave, and so he wants it. So then him and Natsu starts calling him out, and then they start kind of going back and forth and whatnot. And then we go back to Kana, and we find out why she's so concerned about being an S rank and kind of what her history is and whatnot. So we find out that she was raised by just her mom, and her mom told her that her father was a S-class wizard and that he was super powerful, and that he just could, she never told the father about Kana. But then Kana realized and eventually found Gildart. So Gildart's her father. What? Remember, Gildart is the most powerful member of Fairy Tale. Outside of maybe Makarov. And so she goes to introduce herself to him, and she misses her chance. And then she just starts hanging out at Fairy Tale, and eventually she learns magic, and she gets stronger, and she keeps watching Gildart interact with people, and she keeps not telling her the truth about what's going on. And we find out that she told Lucy about all this stuff back, way back when she was taking a bath at her place and kind of being sketchy and whatnot. And that this is part of the reason why Lucy decided she was going to be her partner to help her with all that. And we also find out that she gave Lucy a card that will automatically summon Kana if Lucy ever needs it. And at this juncture, she's getting that summons from the Lucy card, and she's oh no, what am I supposed to do? And it's she wants to become an S-class wizard, and she wants to do stuff, but more than that, she decided, instead of being an S-class wizard, because she decided that if she can become an S-class wizard, then she can finally confess to Gildart that she's the daughter, right? And so that's why it means so much to her, and why she's going to quit the guild, because all this stuff's related to her just having daddy issues, essentially, right? And so finally she's no, I have to do this for my friends. And she recalls how friendship is magic. How Lucy and the rest of her friends at Fairy Tale are the real reason she needs to nut it up and embrace the magic of like the fairy glitter and go and help them, right? And so she absorbs the fairy glitter magic, and then she heads out to rescue Lucy and crew from Blue Note. So she runs up, they see each other, she goes to like cast the spell, and the Blue Note kind of like deflects her and throws her to the ground, and it's like, oh, she doesn't have enough power to use Blue Note, and then, or sorry, fairy glitter. And so Blue Note like starts blasting everybody a little bit more, and then they go back and forth about like her strength or her having enough power, and he's like kind of tormenting her a little bit. And then Natsu like, you know, gets up, he Natsus it up and like hits the guy with fire, and then they runs at the guy, and then Blue Note is about to beat the shit out of them again, but then she casts fairy glitter, and it's supposed to like, you know, completely eliminate them, but again she fails because she doesn't have enough strength of heart or the magical capability or something. So now Blue Note's super pissed, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And so he goes up and he's about to just kill the shit out of her when BAM! Gildart's there. The fuck did he come from? Right? Oh, it's badass. The panel is fucking sweet. You can see it if you're watching this video. I don't know if it's right where I'm talking about because I'm not spending that much time on this shit, but it is so fucking cool. Like, she's about to get like murdered by this guy, and then Gildart just like pops in and like blasts the shit out of him. And he just looks like baller as shit. And then Natsu, who Gildart's like his hero, is like, Gildart! And Kana's like, my father. And then Blue Note's like, oh, so this is Gildart. And so he tells him to run away, and he starts fighting Blue Note. And we get this fucking awesome shonen battle where they're just like punching the shit at each other, right? Even though they're mages. The best part about Fairy Tail is none of the magic users just don't use magic like at all. So much just like punching each other. I love it. I love this fucking thing so much. It's just badass. Like, it's just like bam, the whole area is like exploding with their powers, and Natsu, Lucy, Wendy, Kana, everyone's being like tossed around. And then Blue Note's like, for the first time his like entire existence is like has a scared look on his face, and Gildart's like, I'm gonna fuck you up. And so Kana takes the others and runs off, and Gildart's like, I'm going to destroy you so that these kids have a chance for the future. We then flip back over to Panther Lily trying to... Oh, so we flip back over to the glasses guy. I don't know, I can't remember his name. And he's being tossed to shit around too. And then it's dun dun dun. It's Raijin Guild. It's Freed and Bixlow. And they look badass as hell too. And it's like raining like crazy because of Juvia's stuff. It's so fucking cool. And he's like, who the fuck are you? And it's like, who the fuck are you? And so then they start fighting, and they have a sweet ass shonen anime battle where he's like summoning stuff, but then Bixlow's like beating the shit out of him, and Freed's turning into like his demon form and kicking his shit. And it's like, he's like knocked the shit out of him. They're like, stand the fuck up. It's sick as hell, bro. Oh man. We then get a shot, and I don't see it doesn't come up again in this volume. We see Urza. We see like everybody doing stuff. We see Urza fighting with Azuma and whatnot, and then we see this kid who's just like standing on a dock with like a fairy tale thing on his shoulder, and I'm like, is that Gray? Like, I don't know. I got kind of confused here. Anyway, so the glasses guy is like, I have never felt fear before until right now. And he's like, what is this fear? And then he's like, oh, now I can imagine fear. Now I can use it. So he starts trying to use it. And so it looks like they're having a little bit of trouble. And then Blue Note and Gildart continue to like beat the shit at each other. Urza's having a hard time with Azuma because of like all his tree stuff or whatever. She keeps blasting him with different things, and he keeps like resisting. And then he summons like all these trees. And then she's like, they go back and forth about him being like a tree or something, or using tree magic, whatever. And then at some point he like collapses the giant tree that's on that's the center of like the sacred fairy tale island, and she's like, what the fuck? And then everyone who's a member of fairy tale like collapses because so the deal. And then we learn that like on this island, because of the tree, the sacred nature of the tree, everyone and who's a member of the Fairy Tale Guild gets like super juiced up, but at the same time, once it gets removed, it's like they lose all their powers. So this means like Freyd, Bixlaw, Gildart, Gray, everybody like collapses to the ground, so they can't like really fight anymore. And it's not even like it's like they just like collapse, like they can't even like function at all. And then Hades is like, oh good, that took some time, but I guess this was all part of the plan. So Azuma was here a long time ago trying to become part with the tree so that he could like destroy it or whatever. And then he explains this all to Urza like very succinctly, but then at the same time he somehow like makes it so she still has her powers, because his whole thing is he just wants a good fight, because he's one of those like honorable villains or whatever. And so he essentially like if she can defeat him, then all the magic will get restored to everybody in Fairy Tale. And she, again, like, she still has her powers, but now he has like all the powers of Fairy Tale as well, or something. So it's pretty badass. And then we see everybody like laying on the ground, being like weak as shit and whatnot, and having lots of troubles. We see like Ur's little daughter. I'm sorry, Earl Tyr's daughter, like holding Juvia, like the whole thing, right? So Urza and Azuma, they go back and forth about winning and about fighting and whatnot, and they have a fucking sweet ass shonen anime battle where she's like trying different armors and fighting, and he's using like tree magic and he's beating the shit out of her, and then she's like striking him, but it's not doing too much, and then she has this like, maybe I need to do like my sexy uniform, which is just like her tits hanging out and like wearing like stockings and a sword that says "Come on me." Like, the fuck, I love this. And she's like, no, that's silly. And then she transforms into her no armor, sweet armor with like the bandages around her chest, and she does like some super attack and just beats the shit out of this guy, like just knocks him the fuck out, cuts up the trees and everything. But then she got hit, right? And so it's like, oh no, it looked like she was gonna win, but then he actually like blasted her like real good. Oh, what are we gonna do? And then she's laying there, and then we see not Gajil, Jalil. Yeah, it's super confusing, right? And he's back in like the council prison, just sitting around. Jalal, sorry, so Jalal. And he's looking all sad, Hippopotamus, and then one of the council members, this like lizard guy's like treating him like shit and whatnot, and he's like mumbling something, like, what are you mumbling about? And then Jalil is like, Urza, don't lose. And the two lizard guys who are like watching were like, the fuck? And then Urza like hears that, and she hears the cries of like all the members of Fairy Tale, and because of the power of friendship, because friendship is magic, she's able to like lift herself up, overcome this attack that Azuma did, and then get him. He like grabs her again, and then she's like recalling all the stuff with Jalil and stuff, and then she does some attack to like cut herself out of the tree, and then she's like Natsu and Gray and Lucy and Kana and Wendy, and she's remembering everybody from Fairy Tale, right, and getting power from all of them, and then she just like fucking BTFOs this dude with like a giant kick, and then she uses like the power of friendship being magic, because you get a shot. I don't think I put this in here, but it's Urza like diving at this guy with her sword, and then we get like a Final Fantasy 4 thing with like all the members of Fairy Tale behind her, like giving her energy and strength and power as he's trying to resist her, and he's like, excellent, and then she just like cuts the shit out of him and the tree and just like murks him for good. And then we see a shot of Jalil being like super excited and happy about that whole situation, and Urza, smiling and whatnot. And then she collapses, right, because she's all BTFO'd. But then because he's an honorable villain, he's like, all right, everyone's got their powers back. And then he turns into like the new tree or something. He becomes, and it's like they mentions the dream of becoming one with magic again and all that. But because of his like returning the tree back to like its place or whatever, everyone gets their magic back. And so it's like time to, so Big Slaw and Freed are able to beat the shit out of Glasses guy, and they're just stomping the shit out of him. And then Blue Note, who's like kicking the shit out of Gildart while he's on the ground, gets stopped by Gildart. He's like, hold up, I got my powers back, time to go. And so then, we jump between those two battles, and like the bad guys are like, and like the one dude summons the tower again and whatnot. And there's a whole thing where Bixlog is going to use like his eye magic to control somebody, and then the glass guy's like, I have glasses, you can't use my power on me or whatever. And the guy's like, I'm not using my powers on you. And he's like, what? And then he took over Elfman, and he causes Elfman to just kick the shit. And then Lysiana and Levy, they all just kick the shit out of Glasses guy. And then Frid is able to break free of like the tower too. And then meanwhile, Blue Note casts some like black hole magic or whatever. And Gildart's like, fuck your black hole, and like smashes it. And then this is Blue Note's like ultimate attack, so he's like ruh-roh. Gildart knocks him into like the stratosphere. Meanwhile, Fred cuts the shit out of Glasses guy, just feeding him, and it's like, hooray, everyone won. And that just leaves Ulter essentially, who's holding Zareth, and then she's still talking to Gray, and she's talking about how like, hey, I'm gonna take Zareth and I'm gonna hide him someplace where he can, she's like lying to him, deceiving him about her intentions, which are to like hide Zareth and make sure no one can ever get to him again, and that she like infiltrated Hades' organization so that she could protect the world and whatnot. And she's like, you need to go use Ice Shell on Hades. It's the only way to beat him. That's the whole reason like taught it to you, is so that you could protect something. Please, you got to fulfill her wish and destroy Hades. And then Gray's like, okay, I got it. And then she wanders off, and as soon as she gets a little bit of ways, so then we switch back over to Natsu, and everybody's like awake, and they're looking at the people who are knocked out, and they're like, the fuck's wrong with all these people? Get up. And then they talk about like, okay, well, we got to gather what we got and head over to Grimoire Heart's ship, which is where Hades is, and we got to defeat Hades with what we got. Meanwhile, I don't know what happened to Juvia, but she's like not around here, really. But Marudi, who is the little girl who like Ulter's daughter, is sitting there. Oh no, she's got Juvia right there. So she's in there with Juvia, and then Ulter tells her that like, oh, she tricked Gray. Da, 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 it was a trick. That's right. She's gonna use Zareth. She hates Hades, but she wants to take over, and she's excited because she like manipulated Gray, and then she's gonna go kill Hades, and he's gonna go kill Hades, and it's gonna defeat both of them at the same time, and then Zareth will be hers to control alone without a fight, and she's super excited about all that and whatnot. And then she sees Juvia, and Meridia's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm gonna kill her. This is gonna be so excellent. I hate Gray so much because it's the reason my mother's dead or something. And so she goes to like strike Juvia down, and then like Gray saves Juvia at the last second, and he's like, dumb bitch, you believe I believe your stupid nonsense? And then he like breaks whatever like magic is on him or something, and then he talks about how friendship is magic with her, and then he gets naked so that him and Ulter can start fighting, and she's like, I am the leader of this something, you dare take me on? A puny minion like you could never have any hope. And then Gray just knocks the shit out of her. And that wraps up volume 28. It's fucking baller volume, not gonna lie. So go ahead, like, share, comment, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.